all of the details are out there for you to be able to read. Teams that he wasn't actually playing in, that he bet against, so bet against them, bet for them to lose. People may not know this. Andros, you were actually charged in 2013, weren't you, under the same regulations? Yeah. You've actually opened up since then. You've talked about what you called crippling temptations to gamble, and we're talking, I imagine, about shirt sponsorship, betting across banners. The way that you can have an app on your phone and it is so easy to get really addicted to this kind of thing. You were handed a 12-month suspended ban and ordered to attend counselling as part of your punishment. Before we speak about Ivan Toney, tell us a little bit about what happened, how it affected you.
It was just as I was coming through. I was out on loan quite a bit. I was in hotels on my own. I was single at the time. And there was a big gambling culture. I think I was at Leeds on loan. There's a big gambling culture. And I knew beforehand, I had an addictive personality. I knew I needed to avoid gambling. I needed to avoid drinking. But for some reason, I just got sucked in. And it just spiraled over the course of a year, 2 years, where I was just literally, all I was doing was betting on an app. It didn't feel like real money. It just felt like games. And yeah, I got charged with 76 counts of illegal bets not on my own team, but in teams in my division, which was illegal at the time. And I thought I was going to get banned. I thought my career was over before it even started. But I think I was thankful that the FA did, in my situation, they did see that I had a massive problem. They didn't throw the book at me. They went down the rehabilitation route. And that's why, for me, like reading this Ivan Toney stuff. So I had my case I had to go to the FA and put my case forward to a panel, and nothing was released. Nobody knew anything, and they said that they wanted to kind of help me. They didn't want to turn public opinion against me before they made their decision. And at the same time, it was Luis Suarez's racism case against Patrice Evra, and lots of stuff was getting leaked, and they did that because they wanted public opinion against Luis Suarez before they made their decision. So it just confuses me why stuff was getting leaked in Ivan Toney's case. It's similar to mine. It's a player who clearly had an issue. 276, 232. This person clearly has an issue. Why are you not helping this guy? Why are you throwing him to the wolves? Why are you turning public opinion against him before we've even heard the true story? So for me, it doesn't sit well.
Can I ask, what's it like? Do you get regularly reminded of the rules when you are players and betting? How does that work?
Yeah, once a season you have like a meeting where the FA come in and they go through all the rules and what you can and can't bet on. But unfortunately, when you have a problem, you don't care about the rules. You don't think, if you're addicted to something, whether it be drink, whether it be gambling, you don't think about, this might happen. And for me, I don't mind the sponsorship. I don't mind the gambling sponsorships. I don't mind all of that, because at the end of the day, it pays our wages. It makes football what it is today. But for me, if somebody has an issue and somebody falls foul because of all the advertising and the gambling that's in football, how can you ban them from 8 months? How can you stop them from even training with their club? Because the only thing that's going to do is give them more time on their hands and force them to bet even more and go even more into a spiral. Why not rehabilitate him? Say, listen, you got to spend the off-season 4 or 5 weeks. You have to go to rehab. You have to stay there for 5 weeks. You have to rehabilitate and help the young kid instead of killing him.
Sometimes as well, I think, with addiction, right, when there are there's so much to lose, actually, the blindness of the addiction stops you from even feeling like that's real and that's an actual thing that's happening. I would, if I were anyone in power there, speak to Ivan Toney and almost want to use him to speak to other players currently. Because when do you ever get to hear from a current player, especially someone like Ivan Toney, who's got a huge England career ahead of him as well? But
do you think he's going to do that now?
No.
Do you think he's going to do anything for the FA constructive?
No, and that's where sometimes I think the comparison of punishments within football is incredibly warped. I think as well, people forget, because we look at you guys and you're footballers and you're on our screens, we forget how old you are and we forget how influential you can be as well. Because look, there's footballers that I've spoken to in the past who I know get taken out of education very early, right? So you're isolated and you don't have that chance to make your mistakes at school, to socialise as well, to really develop certain personality traits and social traits. And you're put into this environment when you're really cut off from everything else, and it can be quite lonely. And what happens? You get on your phone the door is open. You've got money to spend. And like you say, you don't know the value of money anymore because you've been given so much money. So it's almost like you're putting a kid into a toy shop and there's no one around. What do you expect that kid to do? I think you're right. I think in this kind of situation where there is somebody that genuinely needs help him, because from what I can hear now from Ivan Toney, he feels incredibly let down by the system, Dino. So he's not going to want to help.
Well, from a football point of view, it couldn't have happened for a worse time, really, for him, because he's at the top of his game. He's a brilliant player. He's just about to get a big move, I think, somewhere. He was going to get in the England team. So some people will look at it, well, you're stupid betting when you know the rules. You know you're not allowed to bet. Some people will look at it like that, you deserve the punishment. And then other people, like what Andros has just said, he can't help himself. He can't help himself having a bet.
I think in my situation, I would have accepted the punishment because I broke the rules. The punishment is fine, but it's the rest of it. It's the leaking. It's the turning public opinion against him. He can't train for 8 months with his football team. That's not going to help the player. That, for me, that's the issue. It's not the punishment is the punishment.
And actually, you're right. He said, look, I completely accept that punishment and that, okay, fine. But you're right. It's almost like, well, you're now taking something else away from him, which is his livelihood and his potential to really develop into a different kind of a player, a better player with the right people around him. I also think in this sort of situation, look, I understand that there are different punishments, different ways of treating something, but there are also real nuanced issues in these kind of things, and I think they have to be handled really well and really respectably as well.
What they should do with him, they should take him around say to him, I'm going to take you around every single club, going to get all the playing staff in the room, because I guarantee you some young players in there are addicted and putting bets on, and he should tell them how much money he's lost. Tell them, this is how much money I've lost.
So the gambling culture is so bad now in football. They definitely need.
They will want to say as well, this punishment is to serve as a what's the word, as an example what can happen. Like, we're making an example of you so that young players will look at you and go, oh my goodness, he can't even train, I'm going to stop it. But sometimes when something has you, an addiction has you,
it's impossible.
That's not what's going to stop you. Like, someone maybe like Ivan Toney coming in and relating to them on a level where it's not someone from a charity or from a company that you're not going to relate to at all. It's Ivan Toney. He's walking in and going, look, I literally was in your shoes. Would that help? I don't know. I think it's a huge conversation. I think the role of gambling, the role of sponsorship and advertising and things like that, and how we treat not just footballers but people with addiction is a huge conversation, more than we can have now.
One quickly, John Hartson, who had cancer, testicular cancer, and he had 6 tumours taken out of his brain, said to me, the cancer wasn't going to kill me, it was the gambling.
Wow.
If I hadn't done something about my gambling, it was going to kill me. I lost all my money.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.